Hello everyone, I'm Babla Jonathan and this is the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinox Television live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. The government of the Republic of Cameroon unveils the fate of the division officer of Batibo Marcel Namata detained, captured by unidentified gunmen on the 11th of February 2018. We shall tell you what happened to the division officer of Batibo in this newscast. And the Anglophone crisis causes the cost of transportation from Buea to Kumba in the southwest region of the country to skyrocket. The road has been blocked for several days and now it has been opened, but drivers have increased the price to about more than 50%. They have increased the price by more than 50%. Stay with us. Government has finally spoken concerning the divisional officer of Batibo in the Momo Division, northwest region of Cameroon, who was kidnapped by unidentified gunmen on the 11th of February 2018 within the context of activities marking the National Youth Day. Marcel Namata detained, according to what is stated in the National Emergency Plan for crisis-stricken northwest and southwest regions of the country, was kidnapped and assassinated. This information is contained in the National Emergency Plan of action put in place by the government of Cameroon to assist those who have been displaced by the crisis rocking the northwest and the southwest regions of the country, as well as refugees, Cameroonians, thousands of them in number, who are now seeking refuge in President Buhari's country, that is in the neighboring Nigeria. According to this plan, Namata Marcel detained, as you can see it well written there, was captured or abducted and assassinated. The road leading from Kumba, southwest, or rather Buea, southwest regional chieftain, to Kumba in the same region has remained blocked for several days, and now the road has been opened, but the transport fare from Buea to Kumba has seriously skyrocketed. It has moved from 1,500 francs CFA to 5,000 in the day and to 12,000 in the night. These are some of the consequences of the deepening Anglophone crisis. And now we're going to give you a special report on the situation in that part of the country, notably concerning the blockage of the Buea-Kumba highway that lasted for several days and left hundreds of commuters who left from Douala, Yaoundé, Bamenda and other parts of the country and were heading to Kumba, as well as those who were leaving from Kumba coming to other or going to other parts of the country. Maimu Davidson has more. The deepening humanitarian crisis in Anglophone Cameroon has provoked an emergency response from government following the outcry from the civil society and the international community. President Paul Biya has decided to disburse more than 12 billion francs CFA to assist people who have been forced out of their homes by violence.
L'assistance humanitaire d'urgence décidée par le président de la République, son Excellence Monsieur Paul Biya.
The emergency humanitarian aid decided by the President of the Republic, Paul Biya, concerns internally displaced persons estimated at 74,966 persons, 66,412 in the southwest and 8,554 in the northwest, plus victims of gun battles in other parts of the country hosting them.
À ces personnes déplacées s'ajoutent les victimes d'exactions dans les localités et les communautés hautes.
Some of the money will also be used to reconstruct villages and infrastructures burnt down.
Le plan d'assistance humanitaire d'urgence.
The emergency humanitarian assistance plan for the northwest and southwest seeks to re-establish conditions favorable for human life and development of affected communities, provide emergency humanitarian assistance to affected populations, ensure the economic restoration of the affected people, promote social cohesion and living together, and rehabilitate destroyed infrastructures, notably schools, before the next school year.
Avant la rentrée 2018-2019.
Government is also looking forward to pay a visit to the thousands of Cameroonians seeking refuge in Nigeria. That was rather a report on the emergency aid plan put in place by the government of the Republic of Cameroon to assist the thousands of Cameroonians who have been displaced by the deepening Anglophone crisis, those who have been displaced internally and those who are now out of the country, talking about the more than 50,000 refugees, Cameroonian refugees who are seeking refuge, of course, in President Buhari's country. Now we come back to mile 17 to talk about the Boya-Kumba road that has remained blocked. But I told you earlier, the road has been opened, the highway has been opened, but the price of transportation, or the cost of transportation from Boya to Kumba has skyrocketed seriously. It has moved from 1,500 francs CFA to 5,000 francs CFA in the day and 12,000 francs CFA in the night. Coming up, a special report by Davidson Maimo on the Boya-Kumba highway that remained blocked for several days and left hundreds of commuters stranded. Davidson Maimo. We apologize for the bad quality of that report. Now we're going to talk about the Central African Economic and Monetary Community, CEMAC, and members of the CEMAC zone are now striving to boost economic development in the sub-region. Member states of the Central African Economic and Monetary Community, CEMAC zone, are stepping up efforts to enhance economic growth within the sub-region. The CEMAC member countries are still suffering the effects of a long-standing economic and financial crisis, slowing down economic growth in the sub-region. Experts from across the region are meeting in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, to evaluate the implementation of economic reform programs put in place by the regional organization. They are also mapping out strategies to get the sub-region out of troubled waters. Greater details in the following extract of Michel Njena Wembu. He is the permanent secretary of the CEMAC Regional Economic Reform Program. Take a listen.
We had the meeting last time in February here in Cameroon. We have a second meeting in Brazzaville. It was the meeting of all African countries, member of what we call in French the Zone Franc. Then we have consultations. When I say we, our states, they do have consultations in Washington. Now we have a program. It is quite normal to sit down and analyze what each institution of the community has been doing, and also the practical measures taken at the level of our 6 member states. And we have to do it in the transparency. Why? Because we are member of the same financial and economic community. So we cannot escape alone. We have to work together or to perish together. And I think that our head of state, they want us to be at least on the path of a success of our reform. That is why, but it is very difficult because the situation, economic situation, is not easy in our region. And we think that by the measure that have been taken, they are in the good direction. And we are going to distribute to you the document presented by member states themselves, so that other member states can see, analyze, and we can see what are the problems and what new strategy we have to adopt.
Coming up, we talk about Cameroonian music as the country joins the international community to celebrate the Music Day today, at a time when the country's music industry is taking a new twist from old-time music to modern music, so to speak. Details in the following report compiled by Franklin Mwabi.
The Cameroonian music industry has evolved over the years, from names like Prince Nico Mbaga, Manu Dibango, Koto Bass, Dedi Eyango, Charlotte Mbango, Tom Nyons, the new generation of musicians like Magasco, Stanley Eno, Loco, Wams, Franco, Achango, and others. Cameroon music started with Makossa, which has a wide fan base in Africa. The funky dance was hit a bit in Cameroon in the 90s. However, modern genres of music like rap, R&B, rock, slow, zouk have encroached into the Cameroonian music sphere.
If you know you're better with another, if you're better with another.
These urban hits, some musicians say, is an upgrade of the old timers.
Change is a constant thing. This generation is a generation of mixed. Like, it's not like they're leaving Makossa completely. There's still Makossa, but it's more of electronic music. And yeah, it's been a mixture of hip hop and Makossa. So it's giving something, it's giving more of high life, you know, dance hall. I mean, it's what this generation really loves.
Ah bébé, je m'en fous.
Cameroon music, despite its evolution, faced a lot of challenges with music from foreign artists. Cameroon musicians decry the fact that Cameroonians prefer to listen to foreign music than home-based produced.
Vous allez au Congo, que la musique. When you get to Congo, you hear just Congolese songs. But in Cameroon, a mixture of foreign songs are played throughout, on the radio or in snack bars. No Cameroon song is played.
The media in Cameroon is not valorizing artists. I don't want to call names of other countries, but we respect them more. For instance, you will see concerts where they pay artists from other countries, neighboring countries. They receive hundreds of millions.
Cameroon musicians also denounce the use of vulgar language in songs, as juveniles are also exposed to them.
Like vulgar language, I myself as an artist, I don't really support that because we have younger kids, but we have like younger ones that listen to it.
Shakespeare says music is food for the soul. The twist and mix in Cameroon music still gives its beauty, since Cameroon is diversified in its culture and tradition.
Thanks for joining us in Talking Points. Njimanto Michael, welcome.
Good evening, Babila.
You're a member of the civil society. Yesterday, we all heard the Prime Minister dishing out the plan that the government is putting in place under the instructions of the President of the Republic, Paul Biya, to assist those who have been displaced within the country and those who are now seeking refuge in Nigeria, talking about southern Cameroonians, and also to reconstruct villages and institutions or infrastructures that have been burnt down this far. What's your take on that initiative by the government?
I think we cannot underestimate the initiative, but from my point of view, I think that this initiative is something that was supposed to come perhaps towards the tail end of the attempt to resolve the Anglophone crisis. Because to me, I think the first ever thing that the head of state is supposed to do is to call for a ceasefire.
While waiting for the tail end to bring in this initiative, according to you, what will happen to the Cameroonians who are living in the bushes, those who are living in very deplorable conditions in Nigeria?
Of course, and that is what we are deploying, because you will not go to assist people or perhaps go back to build houses for people when we know that the people who burned the houses are still there, when we know that the state of insecurity is still there. I mean, are you going to build the houses maybe for the terrorists, the people you call terrorists, to come and live in the houses? Or because I know, from what I know, is the people still feel insecure, they rather feel secure in their refugee camps. and I don't think that you rehabilitate people and then you ask them to come back when actually they know that they are insecure to come back home. So I mean, it's a diplomacy, a state that accept that the money that is gathered maybe is just to give them maybe to, but if they actually the plan, from what I read according to the plan, I think that this is money being wasted. Until a ceasefire is called up, then I think that money is being wasted.
Government cannot disperse such a huge amount of money, more than 12 billion francs CFA, and the collection, the fundraising started today in the nation's political capital, and the various officials, government officials, and even officials of private enterprises have been asked to contribute given amounts of money, given amounts of money.
Babila, if your history knowledge is right, and you reminiscence of the World Cup in 1994 in the USA, do you remember the kind of collection that was made in 1994, and that money is still between France and the United States of America? Do you know that all public, individuals, parastatals, and people gathered money for the Indomitable Lions, and up to today we are still asking for the accountability of that money? So we want to see this to be the same thing, because if this money is, as the head of state announced, and if there is no well marked up plan for the money to be used, then it is going to end up in the hands of and of course, can you imagine the person who is chairing that commission to take, the person that, Anglophones are feeling like it was not the right person who was supposed to be appointed as a minister of
You're talking about
Atangaji, of course. So there are a lot of issues, intrigues in the whole issue about the collection, and people are having a premonition that this is going to be another affair of 1994, whereby this money is going to go missing without not really attend Israel. Imagine people we just go ahead and report where people are not able to travel from Douala to Kumba because of insecurity. How is the emergency plan? How are they going to rehabilitate people? Those who are going to leave the Yaoundé are going to go by air. We are asking that things be done. You don't put the cart before the horse. We are asking that things should go in chronologically and according to order. The head of state should call a ceasefire, and when it is a ceasefire, and then these people will feel secure to come back, and then they will be able to identify the people, and then the issue of construction of houses will come in, the issue of school. How would the people go back to school when they are still feeling insecure?
But several members of the civil society, like you, have been crying out loud and condemning the fact that some of the citizens of this country are in Nigeria suffering, some of them dying, and some living in the bushes with pregnant women, some who are giving birth in very difficult conditions. They're lacking what to eat, lacking shelter, and the government has said nothing. And now the government has said something.
Yes, because now the issue is, I know we have cried out, but the issue is, why are the people in Nigeria? That is the first question we have to answer. The people are in Nigeria because of insecurity. Okay, we are saying that if we are accepting that you are going to give them food to eat and then stay back in the refugee camp, it is fine. This initiative was not even started by the Cameroon government. It was started by the United Nations Refugee and Commission. And I think that the government is only coming behind because we have cried foul. Of course, these people need food. Yes, but our problem is the sum of money that has been allocated. 2.7 billion is a huge sum of money, and
the person in charge of managing the money.
And the person in charge of managing the money, I'm telling Babila, we are having a premonition that this is just another farce.
Are you saying that Southern Cameroonians have lost confidence in people like Atanganji Paul, the Minister of Territorial Administration, and even the Prime Minister Philemon Yang?
Of course, I think that it is nothing. It is no story, new story again. That to know that Mr. Atanganji, he himself, he is insecure going to the Southwest and Northwest region. That is clear. And I'm asking myself how he is going to take up this team to go to the Southwest and be able to supervise what is happening. So we realize that people cry foul, and they said these are individuals that the people actually do not welcome, and it's like a sort of a provocation that the head of state takes only the people who are hated by the people in the Northwest and Southwest to appoint them to certain strategies. And are we really honest? If we are really talking about dialogue and whatever to solve the Anglophone issue, are we honest, or we are just provoking people the more? That is a question that we are asking, and therefore we have to examine our consciences and see. Those are the fundraising started as from now are about 60 million has already been raised, but we are afraid whether these people are just going there to show off what they have in their pocket and be able to demonstrate to the world that they have money to. What is the end of that money that is going to be collected is our worry.
And talking about the initiative itself. You earlier indicated that there's something that should have been done before bringing in such a project. Are you saying that it is not timely, or is a misplaced priority?
It's a misplaced priority for a time. This money is going to be useful, but not now. And what we are saying is that you realize that the 30th of September, the head of state declared war against the secessionists. And of course, it is only the head of state. He has a prerogative. He has a magic card. He is only the one who is going to declare a ceasefire. I know when a ceasefire, even in a war, when one party declares a ceasefire, the other party has a responsibility to respect the ceasefire. And that's what we have been expecting. That the head of state who declared war on the 30th of September 2016 should also be able to come out, because he himself, everything is around the head of state. He should stand up and say, okay, he has declared a ceasefire. What are we going to do? What solution are we going? What form of dialogue are we going to take? Because I mean, we have two solutions at hand now concerning a crisis, and I've always been proposing in other media. And I said, the first one is war, and the second one is dialogue. If we do not want war, then let's just prepare for dialogue. Of course, no Cameroonian will want war, and therefore dialogue. But what form of dialogue? When we start by, taking something that was supposed to be done at the end, this 12 billion was supposed to be for appeasement. To let, when places are calm, and then we call people together and then try to restitute them, give them what they have lost, build their houses, ensure their security. But when we are disposing that money now, it is going to go to, are we going to send the money to Nigeria, or is it the Nigerian government that is going to take care of these people, or the Cameroonian government? So I think there is a whole lot of confusion about this announcement. It doesn't make anybody happy in any way, because we do not know about the end of how this is going to actually be. And the execution of this initiative puts the people who will be executing at risk as the crisis continues deepening, and they will be moving into those areas where the separatist fighters are operating. Oh, of course. To carry on the project. You now see that it is going to be a terrible thing whereby the person, the chairperson or the committee that is in charge of actually using this money is going to ask for security in order to go to the Northwest and Southwest region, in order to be able to execute what this money is meant for. It is not going to be honest that you find somebody who is coming for peace and who has been sent, carrying a lot of security around them, which of course you know that the issue of security, the issue of military in the North and South is already causing a lot of problems. One of the cries of the civil society has always been that they should demilitarize the Northwest and the Southwest. And can you imagine someone who is coming for a rescue mission and coming with a huge battalion or a huge security enforcement behind him? That is going to scare people. And that is why we are saying that for dialogue to be, people need to be in a calm environment and feel secured. If not, you are only going to scare the people the more. And that is what we are asking, that we should be frank about what is happening in Cameroon today. And earlier today somebody asked me the question, is government going to reconstruct the villages that have been burnt down like Kwakwa, and go and compel or pull the Cameroonians who are in the bushes and those who are in Nigeria by force to come back to the house? That is a question. I just said earlier that we risk constructing these villages which are going to be the hideout of even the terrorists themselves. Because how do you construct villages when people will not come to live in? And who is going to live in these villages? So the best thing to do is convince these people that they are secured. Because build the villages and then you leave them. Are you going to pull, what means are you going to pull the people from Nigeria to come? The only means that you're going to pull them to is when they are sure that we are coming back and they are not going to be tortured as they have been tortured. And another issue raising eyebrows is the fact that many government officials, including the Minister of Communication, and just yesterday the Prime Minister himself referred to the separatist fighters as terrorists. And of course, and that's why we have been decrying Babila. We have said these people are not terrorists. We should rather give them a different name, separatists. And it is true, because they have their revendication which the government knows about. Let us come back to the start of this crisis, whereby people started using slang. They said what can 2 cubes of sugar do in a basin of water? And another one is telling others, you are the one who decided to join us. And so those are words that only go to provoke the thing the more. Do not call them separatists, terrorists. Call them separatists. And then when you call them separatists, they have a sense of belonging, because no meaningful dialogue would take place if these people you call terrorists do not sit on a round table to dialogue. Dimancho Michael, member of the civil society, thanks so much for accepting to join us in this edition of the news. It was a pleasure, Babila Janata. That's it for today. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. Goodbye.